As a clinical psychologist, it baffles me that as the most intelligent species, we sometimes find it hard to learn from our mistakes, especially when it comes to love.
Just respect people.
I don't have to respect you, Alex. We're not together.
I want to help them break free.
Oh, sorry.
Rip that little puppy up.
In this experiment, I'm going to help people escape the cycle of damaging relationships where they make the same mistakes over and over again.
I don't feel as pretty as them.
I give too much of myself away too quickly.
I'm going to confront them by bringing them face to face with their ex-lovers, friends and family to reveal some harsh truths.
Do you think the way you looked was important to him?
Absolutely, yeah.
Too much?
Yes.
I think this might change their lives.
I did make it all about me.
Will it work?
You heard what Dan says, you know it, but do you believe it?
Just like the people coming to see me, I'm willing to give it a try.
My name is Charlie. I am 27 years old and I will hopefully be able to fix the world one day. I have had a number of relationships in the past. I know that I'm full on. I would like to think I'm the easy, cool girlfriend, but I'm probably a little neurotic, maybe. I am a little bit nervous, probably because I'm gonna find out some things about myself. I hope it's gonna work out.
Today I'm working with Charlie. Charlie's spent her life trying to help others. She fixes them. They don't ask to be fixed, but she decides she's going to do that. This is a common trait of people in codependent relationships. If I can help you and make you better, of course, I feel better myself. Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
How you going?
Good, thanks.
I'm Cliff.
Hi.
Come on in. You can have this seat if you like.
Thank you.
The issue in Charlie's case is these people aren't asking to be fixed. So this incessant need of hers to do this is actually driving them away. So welcome.
Thank you.
What brings you here today?
I think I keep making the same decisions when it comes to guys.
Can you maybe elaborate a bit more on those decisions?
I tend to fall in love quite quickly.
Okay.
I like to go all in anyway. I think it enhances my time and experience, but at the same time, I've found that that's probably too fast and I need to just slow it down a bit. And I would like to work out how to do that a bit better. Give me any advice, all the advice. I need the advice.
Charlie, you can see I've got a spare chair here today because I've got some people who know you really well coming along to join the session.
Okay.
To help give us some information from an outsider's perspective on your dating process.
The empty chair was a concern.
So when was your first significant relationship?
When I was 19.
Okay, who was that?
Daryl. We were just, starting lives and you don't know yourself at that age. And then you're trying to work out a relationship. And we were so full on from the beginning. We were like living together at the beginning and brought all of our problems and our lives into the relationship straight away. And yeah, I think that really affected it.
Shared
Everything.
Right.
Yeah. Daryl was everything. It was my entire world.
So when did it end?
It finalized about 7 years later.
So once you came out of that grounded place, what was it like trying to make your way in the world? Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be free, I guess. I feel like I missed out on a lot of time navigating the dating world.
Yes.
And I went on a dating app rampage.
Very common. So Daryl ends. Here I am, brave new girl, brave new world, going on a dating app rampage. I'm sure there's some doozies. But then who was the first one you got to? You're like, okay, now I'm falling in love again.
That would be Tim.
Right.
I started dating Tim about 5 years ago. Very full on straight away. We were in a relationship, but not in a relationship for about 6 months.
How did the relationship go?
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
It was unhealthy, I would say. Jumped in quickly, yeah.
And so how did it end? What happened?
it fizzled because I didn't get the relationship out of it, and he didn't communicate that to me that he didn't want one or wanted one.
So who was next?
Wes, he was in the same building as me.
Like a rom-com.
Yeah,
Right.
That's my life.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it just happens this way.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so got along really well, and he was just really sweet, and sparks were flying. And
Yeah. What happened with Wes? Did it end the same way as Tim? Does it
Yeah.
fizzle? What happens here?
Yeah, he kind of just stopped talking to me, like stopped messaging. You always want to call up your exes and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? When did it go wrong? Tell me, tell me, tell me.
So would you say he ghosted you?
Great word. Yes, that wasn't a thing back then, but now it's so.
You go knocking on that door?
No. You can't get up to that level without.
Right. So we had a safety blanket. We had a building safety blanket.
Oh, no.
Right.
I mean, I don't do that. I'm a little bit crazy, but not that crazy.
Okay. This explains a lot. But here's someone who might be able to give us some more info on you.
Wes was a one-night stand that turned into a spontaneous fling. Charlie saw it as more than that. Wes did not. This is common. Today's culture, we hook up, we meet on an app, and now we've got skewed beliefs. I'm here for one night, you're here for a relationship, and Charlie was in a lot deeper than Wes was. Wes has written a letter to Charlie. He would like Charlie to think about what she needs before giving everything away to somebody else.
I have a letter from Wes to read to you.
Okay.
Are you nervous?
Am I nervous laughing? I didn't know that there would be a letter. Kind of grateful I didn't see Wes.
We met on a dating app
Yep.
about 3 years ago. We shared some particularly good banter. We definitely got each other's sense of humour. By complete chance, it turned out we lived in the same building. So I asked her out. We meshed just as well in person. We had dinner, a few beers, and we went home with more than a kiss at the door. I thought we'd entered into something very casual, but after a few weeks, Charlie asked, where is it going? Right off the bat, well, sleeping together on the first date, it sets up a relationship to be a little more casual. Not to say that it can't evolve into something more, but in my mind, it certainly sets it off in another direction.
Didn't know that's what he was thinking. I just thought I don't know, that's just how you start relationships.
The one red flag to me was her work. Charlie, as a social worker, would bring it home. I hope she finds the help she needs. I believe there is a good person out there for her. Just keep looking, Charlie, and be honest with people about what you're looking for. Wes.
Interesting. Thank you, Wes.
What do you think about that letter from Wes? Does anything stand out to you?
Yes. The nature of the relationship, finding out what he was thinking, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in a good place either. Work was very intense back then, yeah.
Tell me about your work. You said you're a social worker.
Yeah, so
Right.
I worked with kids in foster care for a few years.
Okay, that's tough.
I imagine I was talking about it a lot, because I did.
Why did you become a social worker?
Help everyone. That's pretty much all I want to do, is help people be better versions of themselves, or the best version of themselves.
So do you think this is filtering right through to your everyday life?
Everything I do, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
you're helping everybody.
Yep. I would like to help people to be more empathetic and understanding of each other, and just by educating and supporting them that way.
Let's get another point of view here from somebody you haven't dated, that has seen it all, and is always around to give you those tough truths.
I didn't know who it would be. I thought maybe my mum.
My name is Ash. Charlie, she's a great sister. I love her.
Charlie was only 10 when her parents' marriage broke down, and from there she was hands-on looking after her two younger brothers. Codependency issues, such as putting the needs of others above your own, are common. Charlie's younger brother, Ash, said this is exactly what's happened with Charlie. She throws herself 110% into a relationship. She's putting the needs of others above those of her own.
She goes gangbusters from the get-go, and it's like not the best attitude to have all the time. I feel kind of bad for not approaching her about it.
He said this not only scares them away, but worse still, it prevents Charlie from looking out for herself.
How you going on, Cliff?
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Seeing my brother, that was cool. That made a lot of sense.
Now, Ash, tell me about your family and the role Charlie has played in that.
A big one, the biggest. Charlie was always there, and so on the weekends off or when Mum was at work, she'd be organising food and making sure we were ready for school and also doing her life as well. But I guess as a young kid, you kind of take that for granted. You just accept that your older sister will be there to look after you. Yeah, she had a lot of responsibility and looking after us and, you know, telling us to behave, and it was pretty relentless. As a young person, you don't want that.
At a very young age, Charlie's being almost a co-parent.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a normal adolescence for Charlie then, was it?
Nah. But there's a lot of missed years there, so...
You're right, she missed some years. She missed that dating years, meeting boys.
Yeah, the juvenile...
Learning the art of dating.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, I did miss out on those things, and it makes sense that I didn't get the chance to learn how to do it properly.
So when she finally did meet somebody, Daryl, she's got no idea how to do this. She just jumps in.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a good point. I mean,
No practice, no learning.
Yeah, and no guidance, really.
She grew up fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
She had to.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. I had thought about it, and I do know that I did have to grow up quickly, but at the same time, yeah, I didn't really think all too much of it.
So has Charlie confided in you what goes wrong in the relationship? Is there a pattern?
How long do you have? You're a chronic helper, but maybe some relationships don't need to be helped, you know? It's okay not to save that one. And it's okay to admit that. If you can see something that someone else can't see just yet, it is overwhelming for some blokes. And having your significant other already know how to fix it maybe makes them feel a bit weak.
Some people aren't ready for it so early.
That sucks. Like, I don't want to be that person.
It's number 2.
Giving too much of yourself. So in your true to form selfless nature, you give all of your energy to this other person. I think when you give a little bit too much, it just, she needs some time for herself, I think.
So, hello, I'm Charlie. Here's all of me.
Yeah.
Can freak people out sometimes, can't
It
it?
can freak people out.
It's all good. Pace it.
Pace it. And also, you know, reward people with your efforts. I think less than freak people out, it lets people be comfortable too much.
Charlie's going to put in 80.
Yeah.
I put in 20.
Yeah.
This is how we start.
Yeah, it's human
This is
nature.
how it stays. Then 5 weeks later, Charlie's on the phone to Ash. Oh my God, I give him so much, he gives me nothing in
course.
return.
I know that I do deserve better, and I know that I need to work on myself before I give more to other people.
Any man would be lucky to have her.
Yeah, of course. You don't need me to tell you that. You know that.
You're a good brother, Ash.
I think she's had a rough couple of years, and to see her there, I think she looked like she was sorting it out, you know, like she's taking a step forward. This will be a good turning point for her life.
What did you think of what he had to say?
It makes sense that I do jump in and that I do give a lot.
Actually, he said a lot of things today that surprised me. Brought up a lot of things that I think I hadn't really thought about.
Now let's hear from someone that's shared one of those longer non-committal relationships with you.
Okay.
Let's see who it is.
I'm Tim. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Charlie. We were together, unofficially together, for about 5 months.
Tim and Charlie's relationship fizzled out, and Charlie was left wondering why. Well, today's Tim's chance to tell her. You see, Charlie's incessant need to fix Tim is what drove Tim away.
We did discuss our feelings when we did go our separate ways, but I think under these circumstances, it'll maybe sink in a bit better for her.
She can gain insight and see how this repetitive behaviour of hers to validate herself by fixing somebody else is actually driving that person away and leading to relationship breakdown.
Hello.
I was excited to see him, but then also terrified.
Look at you.
Yeah, I got a little heart fluster and everything, eh? Like, yeah, it was great.
So can you tell me how you two met?
First time we met was through a dating app, and we chatted not for very long before we both agreed to meet. We hit it off immediately, I believe.
It started off, you know, Friday, then it was Monday, then it was Thursday, and then it was pretty much every day after that.
I did always emphasise that I can't really settle down.
Right.
Like, I'm a bit of a... got my own problems there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, Charlie, you know, was fine with that when we begun.
Okay, so right off the bat, you've told Charlie, look, I'm not into something serious here.
I'd say probably in 2 months when I was like, it's getting pretty serious, you know?
I was actually really surprised because we had never talked about it. We just jumped in.
Talk to me, what was she like as a partner to date?
Oh, well, she was lovely, always smiling, looking gorgeous as always as well. And always complimentary, always nice. Everything about her like is lovely. There's very few things that I can say that are anything negative towards her.
Yeah, I'm getting that impression.
Yeah.
Did you find her full on?
After about 2 months, yeah.
Yeah. Look, that's okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of that?
Well, there was times that we weren't organised to meet up and knock on the door. I'm like, "Wait, Charlie, what are you doing here?" You know, like
I didn't.
you did.
Oh my God.
That was sometimes a little overwhelming. Clingy, yeah, I'd say clingy. A little bit too clingy for my liking.
I didn't have a sense of what you should do, I think, in relationships.
Yeah.
It was just always, all of them always just straight in and go.
Probably a lot more needy back then than I am now, hopefully. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to find out.
Charlie was a social worker. Did you ever find that Charlie was trying to help you?
Charlie would come home, and if I was having a bad day at work, and then we're catching up, and I'd tell Charlie about my bad scenario, I would then become like her case. Right. And she would talk to me as if I was needing psychological help in a way, and I was like, I don't need to be picked. That was pretty much like my nail on the coffin for saying, right, I've got to stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is too much for me.
I was actually really surprised by Tim being honest about how he felt about me trying to fix him. I didn't know that that's what I was doing to him.
When you walked in here today, I got a feeling that you were really happy to see Charlie, and she was really happy to see you too. And I want to say, I feel like there's chemistry. We're talking 3-4 years down the line, and you're still talking like you just caught up last night for dinner.
You can't stop it when I was someone who you got feelings for.
You know, is there a possibility that
If your patterns change and you were more grounded, that maybe it was a timing issue and maybe just an evolution issue. Situation, location, team.
Maybe.
You know? So I'm not saying anything. I really like to highlight that stuff. You know, I'm not Cupid, but...
Want to see it happen.
Well...
Yeah, I definitely would love to go back and try again with Tim.
We break up with people, they ghost us, or they don't tell us the truth, or we beat ourselves up, or we go on to the next person. We don't stop and actually sit down as two compassionate, caring adults
Yeah.
and say, what's going on for us. And your honesty and your bravery in saying that and your ability to take that on board, that's what makes this possible. I've really loved having you on board, Tim.
Cheers. It's pretty intense just going straight out, right, boom, this is it, you know? But it's, be honest. Honesty helps, yeah. Kind of can't wait to see you again.
What a great guy.
Isn't he?
I
That's
really
why.
like him.
Yes, I can tell.
But have you heard some things today that you think will really help?
And even in the letter.
What have you heard?
Being honest, but like more upfront with what I'm after.
Yep.
Having that discussion in the first instance. And I think also, obviously not being too full on, not trying to fix everybody. And yeah, trying to take it slower.
Yeah, you know,
That's the thing.
what I'm hearing when you would have been learning to date and to grow into healthy, normal relationships, you were stuck looking after your mum and your brothers, having to be an adult. And then it wasn't until you're actually 19, you had your first serious relationship, and it was fast. You moved in, you shared finances. It was almost like, was that a time out from your family?
Yeah.
But then rather than getting a time out and getting love, what you did, you just gave it to someone else.
Yeah. That was probably the one thing I'm most hard on myself with, is that I did put Daryl first, before my brothers, before my mom. And that was, yeah, the biggest thing to deal with.
You can't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be looked after.
I was holding back tears. I think being out in the open and for other people to hear, that was pretty tough.
Coming here today is a step in the right direction. Isn't it? It's about you looking after you. How can I do me? I want you to learn to date yourself.
Okay.
You know what? Having a date with yourself once a week. I want you to take yourself on a bigger date once a month. I want you to go and pamper yourself. I want you to sit back and be looked after. Once you start to date a new person, I'm going to put some little rules in place here. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, you see them once a week. For the next 2 to 3 weeks, twice a week. The key here is we're going to pace it. Strictly no sleeping together before 4 weeks. Blanket rule. I don't want you to go in and say that, because I know your honesty comes from the right place. I don't want you to rock up and say, hi, my name's Charlie, but we're not sleeping together for 4 weeks. Set your watch.
Are you sure that?
No. But I want you to know in your head that you've got a dating game.
Yes.
Right?
Game.
It's good to have solid advice, and having Cliff say, don't do that, do this step by step. Yeah, so I will be taking that on board.
I don't want you to be with someone you need to fix. I want you to be with someone who can absolutely care for you and have your back as much as you've got theirs. So we don't need dating app rampages anymore.
No.
We've got a dating game on, and it's a game you can win on your terms.
I got this.
And high five.
Today's been very interesting. I know what's going on in my life. I know where I can go and how to do things. But then today, I was like, oh, okay, actually, maybe I do need more help than I'm letting on. So I'll immediately be stronger and more confident in myself and kinder to myself. Stay tuned.
Charlie's need to help others has been ingrained over a long period of time, but today she was listening. She said she's ready to move forward, and I believe her. But Charlie needs to understand a relationship is about equality, balancing the needs of your partner with those of your own. There is a fine line between love and lust, and if Charlie can trigger that part of her brain and set her intentions straight, then she is far more likely to be lucky in love.